Welcome back to Norton Man Reviews, everyone. I'm your host, John Norton. We're going to look at something different again. Scott Pilgrim, Precious Little Life, Volume 1. I look at a bunch of superhero comics because that's what I was into for a long time. But Scott Pilgrim is fucking awesome. It's funny and it's really well done in different kind of ways. I don't know the history of Brian Lee O'Malley, how he was able to do this. I think he did some kind of book before this, but he was obviously inspired by manga comics, Japanese comics. He's Canadian, but he was inspired. You could definitely tell like he was inspired by those kind of things as well as a bunch of other stuff. So he was able to do these volumes of work, and they took off. They got really popular. I was working in a comic book store when I was younger, and some of the guys there, they're like, "You got to read this and pick it up." And I read this first one, and I don't think I could put it down. You know, it's a thick book, and it took me like an hour and a half to read. I don't remember how long it took me, but it was kind of like you sit down and you read it. I didn't really read it in sections. But I mean, Scott Pilgrim, it became a fucking movie. It became a video game. It became a Netflix series. It's really popular. It was reprinted. They did it in color. This one is black and white. I don't have the colored versions. But I wanted to go through this, and we're not going to spend a lot of time on every single page because it will probably be a long video. But I'm going to try and get through a lot of it. I'm going to try and showcase a bunch of stuff that I felt was funny, that I think the movie, if you had seen the movie with Michael Cera and all them, that they left out. Because how do you put 6 volumes into a 2-hour movie? I felt would have been cool if they would have done the first 3 volumes in one movie and then did a second movie with the last 3 volumes. Then the Netflix series I was really excited for because I thought it was going to be more in-depth and include more stuff that they had to weren't able to do in the movie, but that went into an entirely different storyline, which at first I wasn't really into, but I just had to like kind of accept it for what it was instead of what I wanted it to be. So let's get into the book. So Scott Pilgrim, Volume 1, A Precious Little Life. You can see like it's a different size. Like this is a comic, like a regular comic. I zoomed in a little, but you can see like the difference in size of a regular comic. Okay. Cool opener. There's Ramona. Cool jam out. Scott Pilgrim. Scott Pilgrim is dating a high schooler. This was printed July 2004. Damn, I'm doing a lot of stuff in 2004. And this is how the Netflix series all started. Scott Pilgrim is dating a high schooler. They're all talking about the Knives who he's dating. She's in high school. This guy's 23 years old. There's Scott. That's Scott. There's Kim and young Neil and Steven Steels. And they're giving him shit here. Funny stuff. The bus a few nights ago, he's telling him the story of how they met, and there's Knives, the high schooler, with her mom giving her shit, and there's Scott, and that's how she dropped her books and he helped her, and he's like, "Hey, don't worry about it." Scott Pilgrim, 23 years old, rating awesome. That's funny stuff, and that's how we met. And then it goes into chapter 1, dating a high schooler. There's a bunch of the characters. There's Ramona. She's like, big deal. And then we go to his apartment, and he lives with this gay man. They live in like a studio apartment. He's 25 years old. His rating is 7.5 out of 10. And he's like, yes, before you hear from someone else, I'm dating a 17-year-old. Is he cute? Ha ha ha. He's like, does this mean we have to stop sleeping together? Because they only have like this one futon in this place. And I like they start labeling this. They did this in the movie, but it went by really fast. Scott and Wallace's apartment ownership diagram. Lame poster right there, that's Scott's. The futon, that is Wallace. The throw rug, that's Wallace's. The wall lamp, the easy chair, Wallace. Clothes on floor and stuff. That's Scott's. Everything in the kitchen is Wallace. Shoes lying around, that's Scott's. Scott's coat, Wallace's coat, it's better. Television is Wallace. Video game systems and games, that's Wallace. Shelf, Wallace. Books and TVs, Wallace. Computer, Wallace. Table, Wallace. Scott's toothbrush, Wallace paid for it. Wallace's socks on Scott's feet. You're totally my bitch forever, Scott. That's funny shit. So then the next day or something... I just love this shit. Like, how do you get, like, you have to have a certain kind of comic just to put in whatever. And so he's bringing the girlfriend to meet, like, this band that he's a part of. And he's like, please be good. I'm like, I'll be good. Am I normally not? You promise to be good. So they introduce Knives meets Steven. He's like, he made me promise to be good. He's like, you may have been kidding. Are you normally bad? And he's like, whatever. This is Kim. This is Knives. You can just throw your coat wherever. And so, Kim plays drums. She thinks that's awesome. There's young Neil. He's like, what do you play? He's like, nothing. I just live here. This is where in the movie they gave the joke of where he plays Zelda and Tetris, because he plays video games all the time. Okay, let's start with Launchpad McQuack. That's not the actual title of the song. We are Sex Bomb 1, 2, 3, 4. And then they start jamming out. And there's lyrics here, which I'm not going to get into. And Knives is just like loving this shit. So then they stop and she just loves it. And she's like, that was so amazing. Sex Bob-omb. And it's funny because it's not Sex Bomb, it's Sex Bob-omb. And if you play Mario, Bob-omb is that fucking bomb, that the name of that bomb character in Mario. So then afterwards, she seems nice. You think so? So Kim here. Scott, are you evil or are you really happy? What, like, do I have ulterior motives or something? Are you asking me if I'm a user? They look at each other. I'm offended, Kim. Wounded even. Hurt, Kim. Funny stuff. And then, let's see, later he's sleeping, wakes up, and it's his sister, 19 years old, younger sister, rating T for teen. The ratings are so funny. So she's giving him shit about him dating a 17-year-old. Wallace told him that gossipy bitch. And so he's telling her, and he's like, he's Catholic school. This is all in the movie, but with the uniform and everything, yeah. And then they keep talking about that and how she thinks it's a bad idea. Are you legitimately moving on because he broke up with someone else and they don't say who? He's got this fucking hat on here. So then they go, let's see, there's Wallace and Scott, and they're chit-chatting, all fun stuff. They're picking up Knives and from school. And like, this is my cool gay roommate, Wallace Wells. Like, hi, do you want to know in my class who is gay? He's like, yes. And does he wear glasses? And he's like, okay, Wallace, you go now. You leave. Be gone. And I love this. I've always wanted to do this with somebody like a friend of mine, and they're dating somebody new. I just want to go up to them and say, you're too good for him. So they go and get pizza, and they're chit-chatting about stuff. Most of this was in the movie too. She's talking about yearbook club, all good stuff. More just chit-chatting, character stuff, relationship stuff. And there he's asking how many guys she's gone out with. Have you gone out with a lot of guys? No, I've never even kissed a guy. Me neither. Good to know. And then they're walking. He sees his old house. Yeah, that's whatever. Then you go into this weird like dream thing, and he's like freaking out. And I like when they go. What you realize later is when you have like the panels, the panel borders in black. It's either a dream or it's like a flashback. So you know that's not what's going on in real life in the present. And so he's freaking out in his dream. And then she comes skating by, this chick, just having some idiotic dream. He's like, I'm dreaming? Can we make out then? Chapter 2, do you know her? Okay. So they're just talking. People are hanging out. There's some guy, I think, dating Wallace. Whatever. I don't know what's going on. Still more stuff. So he's with knives. They're at the library, Toronto Public Library, probably a real place. Libraries always remind me of grade school. That must seem like a really long time ago. And then he sees the girl in his dreams, and there's Ramona, and he's kind of freaking out. And he's like, "Isn't it too snowy outside to be rollerblading?" So he's kind of like enamored by this girl in his dreams. When I was a kid, I dreamed it like I'm talking like third, fourth, fifth grade. I had a dream about a girl and I could not stop thinking about her. I had such a huge crush on her just because she was in one dream. So yeah, now we're in this is a flashback. They were in a band from somebody else. But it's a dream because she comes driving through. I'm dreaming. Good call. All good stuff. Like this art is very simplistic, but he knows how to like tell a story. Like you just follow the story really well. I mean, I won't say he's a bad artist. Like he's a good artist, but this isn't like Jim Lee, Mark Silvestri kind of art. It's a very simplistic style, but you like I can't just draw like this. Like I could imitate it, but this guy definitely had like developed a style, but he knows how to like compose a page and have you follow it along. And I love that he says, this might sound vague, but with that one girl with hair like this, and he's using his fingers to show like her hair, like it comes down on the sides. In the movie, he drew a fucking picture of it, which was, I think this is way funnier. So he says, yeah, Ramona's here. So he's looking for her, and he fucking finally sees her right there. So, hey, what's up? Chapter 3, this one girl. She says nothing and checks out her shoes. Thanks, I got them in England. They remind me of something, but I can't remember. Am I dreaming? She looks at him all fucking weird. I'll leave you alone forever now. Thanks. And then he stalked her until she left the party. It's funny. He's just like, he's in the back there. He's looking at her up there. He's like hiding behind this guy, and he's like looking down. They showed this in the movie. They did that kind of well. So he's excited that she's not just a dream, that she's an actual real person. So he talked to this one guy. I forget this guy's name. He tells her she's American. They're all in Canada, but she's American. And then they're talking to this other girl, not Stacy, Julie. No, somebody else. Whatever. Doesn't matter. There's Julie. And then this girl, Julie, their friend, she's dating Steven, they're friends. And she doesn't want him to date or hit on Ramona. Anyways, continues on. Later that evening, Wallace comes barging into the apartment. Guess who's drunk? And he just like flops down on the like this one bed that they have to share together. And so he starts telling her about Ramona, and he's like, okay, he's listening. He's like, can I pretend we're talking about a guy? So I'm at this party, and there she is. There he is. Wallace is funny. And then he's talking about her shoes, and he draws a picture of them, scribble, scribble. He'll like just like write in like random like words like sound effects, scribble, scribble, and you know what's going on. And he shows a picture of the shoes to Wallace, and he looks at him. These shoes are Mr. Silly Shoes, Scott. The next morning, or technically afternoon, and they're eating bacon. And hey, Amazon.ca instead of .com, I guess that's how they say it in Canada. That's the online bookstore or whatever, right? Yep. What's the website for that? He just said it. He's just like ... So he places an order because that's where she works, and he wants a reason for her to come over. I have to order something cool. There's this. Scott, he's ordering something, and the thing's like, "You got mail, dude. The computer claims I have mail. Whatever, dude. Now I'm reading it." Dear Mr. Pilgrim, it's come to my attention that we'll be fighting soon. My name is Matthew Patel, and I'm, this is, what? What is it? It's boring, delete. So that's funny. Most of this stuff, like, they adapted this first book pretty well in the movie and in the first episode of the Netflix series. So if it seems a little redundant, it's because it is. So, he orders the stuff, and they sitting in front of the fucking door. He's like, "Are you waiting for the package you just ordered?" He's like, "Maybe." But then Knives comes by, and he's like, "Oh, he forgot he has an actual girlfriend," as he's trying to hit on and meet this other girl. So they go out for pizza, talking about yearbook club. He's just like listening. That's sucky, I tell you. So he goes shopping at like for clothes. Do not sit. He's sitting on a couch where it says that. So then they go, and she gives him a hug, but then she just plants a kiss on him, and he takes off. Zoom. That's funny. Zoom. And then, did my CDs come? He's like, "No, I hate to break it to you, but nothing's going to be shipped till Monday at the earliest. And even that's kind of unrealistic, seeing as you just put in your order." So it's like, you're not going to get anything over the weekend. And even so, you're not going to get anything right away. He's like, "No." And this is funny. He's playing a video game here, right? And like the sound effect, thummy, thummy. He's just, you can hear it. Like just that weird little like silly sound effect, thummy, thummy. So Sunday evening, and they say, "Got us a show. They're going to play." Oh my gosh, when? Wednesday at the Rocket. And it was like, this guy was like, "Steve, do you know anyone in a band?" I was like, "Yeah, great story." She's mad. She's trying to find a way to make sure she's there. And like, he says, "It'll be fine if you don't make it." He's like, "But she's our biggest fan." And then young Neil, he crying sniff, and he runs off crying, "Boo-hoo, other than you, Neil." So who are we playing with? Crash and the Boys. Oh, that one band with Crash and those boys. So another dream. She's skating through halls of the school. And then he wakes up, and he like gets up and he rushes to the door, and he opens it as she ding dong. And she has this fucking freaky look in her eyes. I like how he was able to do this like I don't know what you call that, but just he does this black and white, but he does this like screen print or something, and so you can see like she's wearing like nylons or leggings or something there. Scott Pilgrim, Do you want to go out with me sometimes? I think we should date. Like, no, that's okay. You just need to sign for this. And then she starts saying, she's like, I recognized you. He's like, wait, what? It's the real. She says there's this really convenient subspace highway happens to go through your head. It's like 3 miles in 15 seconds. So it's weird because you're getting this idea like this is all real world stuff, more or less, right? And then she's like, there's a weird subspace highway in your head. And he's like, you're talking crazy talk. This is something they don't teach in Canadian schools. And he's like, can you elaborate on what you're talking about? It's like rapid transit, subspace highways. Is it like in Super Mario 2? Oh my gosh, am I not fitting everything in here? Sorry. She gives him this look. No, it's not really like that at all. So he wants to go out with her. But she's like, you gotta sign this, but if you sign it, you'll leave. Yeah, she's like, that's my job. And he goes on this long tangent about all the reasons for them to hang out. She's like, you're all over the place, but I'm so sincere. Sincerely lame, maybe. And then he says, your subspace highway thing goes through my head. You rollerblade my head, like through my head. He's like, maybe that's why I'm obsessed. And then he says, wait, let's pretend I didn't say obsessed. You're totally upset with me. I need to find a new route. And so he basically convinces her to for them to hang out, go on a little date. I'm gonna Sorry, I had to readjust the camera. So yeah, that transition instead of later that evening or whatever. So yeah. So they're standing there. So they meet up. And he's wearing this jacket. What's with the X anyway on your coat? I love this. Well, obviously, one of us went to Professor Xavier's school for gifted youngsters, and one of us didn't. One of us is a total nerd. Did you make that patch yourself? I don't have to answer that. So then they start chit-chatting about stuff, how she ended up in Toronto. This is funny. She says, what do you do? I'm between jobs. Between what and what? Well, my last job is a really long story filled with sighs. Maybe we can get into it in a later volume of comic. I don't even want to talk about my last job. Yeah, maybe volume 3 for that one. So they're already breaking the fourth wall. They're not looking at us, but they're talking about being in a fucking comic. More chit-chatting, talking about each other, about then it starts snowing, it's getting cold. Talking about the weather in Canada, and then they find this door with a star, and they use that to warp through, basically. So there's video game mechanics in this fucking world. And that's kind of how I was told about this book. It's as you go along, you find out that it's kind of set inside a video game. More or less, not inside a video game, but just video game rules apply. Or something. So then they go to her house. They're all wet. And he's excited because she mentioned that it was a date. And so she wants to make some tea. What kind of tea do you want? He's like, there's more than one kind. And she just rambles on all these different kinds of tea. Again, they did all this. They put all this in the movie and they did it really well. He's like, did you mix up some of those? I think all it's sleepy time, she says. So he's shivering, he's cold, she's going to go change, she's going to get a blanket, but she's taking forever, and he's just still cold, so he kind of goes looking for her, steps in on her changing, so he closes his eyes, and so it's blackened in, but then she's like, ooh, something is very warm. He opens his eyes, and there she is, touching him, and then they start making out. Nice one, Scott, now turn the page. And then he mentions, like, can we just lay on the bed? Like, use the blanket on the bed? What about our tea? What about it? So, took the opportunity. I love that look on his face as the girl's getting, like, naked in front of him. We've all been there. And then she says she doesn't want to have sex, but he's happy just kind of hanging out and, like, cuddling with her. She's like, okay, I'm not going to kick you out, but we're not going to have sex. But she also says, like, I reserve the right to change my mind about that. So next morning, tweety tweet, just hear like the birds tweeting, and it's just cheap cheap Twitter. That's just funny shit. So then she has to go to work. She's basically telling him, you gotta go. And then he tells her, like, hey, we're doing this, like, come to this my show where my band is playing. You have a band? Yeah, we're terrible. Please say you'll come. She's like, I'll be there. So then he comes back to Wallace, and he says, you have a letter. He's like, I got a letter. And then he opens he's telling her about Ramona, but he's like, you have a fake high school girlfriend. You need to break up with your fake high school girlfriend. He's like, yeah, I know. And he's like, who's the letter from? And again, it's from this Matthew Patel. Received no reply to my email of Saturday. Consider this fair warning, blah, 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 fight schedule, blah, blah, etc. I guess I'm just not interested in whatever this gentleman is selling. So, got two letters. One is an email about this warning. He just isn't even giving it any attention. And so he's forcing him to go break up with Knives. So he just got in from the snow, but he has to go right back out into it. So then, yeah, he goes up and he sees her. She gives him a kiss. He's kind of freaking out. And then he's like, I think we should go set up. Is this already? I don't know what's going on. Are they already at everything's starting to get complicated. Chapter 5. See, it's just weird they do these things. I think they're at the show now. And they're getting ready, talking about the other band that's going to be playing. And the drummer is a girl, so she's all pissed. And this girl's 8 years old. I hate her so much. No, they're not at the show yet. They're just practicing. All right. 24 hours later, there we are, the rocket. And then there's Scott's sister, and so there's Wallace, and Scott's sister Stacy's boyfriend. His name is Jimmy. Blah blah blah. So then we go down here. Tamara Chen, this is a Knives friend. Status, totally scared. Knives Chow, 17 years old. Status, totally crazy. Funny shit. So she's all over Scott because he hasn't broken up with her yet. And then there's Ramona. She sees this. Ramona Flowers, agent known status. Scott is an idiot. So the two girls are there and they're going to meet somehow. So he's fucking freaking out. And he sees them and everyone's staring at him. I have to go. And he zooms out. Just like these. He says, this is funny for whatever reason. It says everyone. It just points at these random people. He zooms out backstage and points. That's Scott. Like these little fucking like doodles that you do in like at school when you're bored. So there's Crash and the boys. I'm Crash and these are the boys. Is that girl a boy too? That's Wallace yelling it out. It's like, yes. She fucking flips them off. What do you think, Jimmy? Do they rock or suck? They haven't started playing yet. That was a test, Jimmy, and you passed. And so these guys start playing 1, 2, 3, 4. They play really fast, and a fucking feather drops from somewhere. That song was 0.4 seconds long. You're all too kind. These guys are good. Steven in the back, he's like freaking out how good they are. It's not a race, guys, Wallace is yelling. This song is for the guy who keeps yelling from the balcony, and it's called We Hate You, Please Die. Sweet, a song for me. All right. So they're backstage waiting for their turn. Chit-chatting about stuff. These guys are still playing. And, geez, what was... This is... shows the Crash and the Boys. This is the song they're playing. Because they talk about how this one knocks the audience unconscious for like 20 to 30 minutes. She's like, we have to play next. And that's what's going on, I guess. So Ramona, she's sitting with Stacy, the sister. And they're chit-chatting. And she says he's a friend. This is what happened to the fucking audience during this fucking song. And then Wallace and Stacy's boyfriend are fucking making out. Good stuff. So this 8-year-old girl tells her to good luck. So they 1, 2, 3, 4 sex bomb, and they're about ready to play, but suddenly something comes crashing in, and this guy, Matthew Patel, consider our fight begun. This is all adapted very well in the movie. Scott, he just like throws down his fucking guitar or his bass. I think he plays bass. And he just blocks this guy and punches him. Like, we just went into like, what the fuck just happened? I mean, there was some funny like stuff kind of going on, but this guy comes out and they just like a fight just happens. Punches him there, kicks him there. Watch out, it's that one guy. Thank you, Wallace. And then they go for the air juggle. This guy is such toast. Doesn't he know that Scott's the best fighter in the province? So Scott's beating the fuck out of this guy. And he does a combo on him, 64 hits. For Nintendo 64? It's a new personal best for Scott. Ramona's just like, can't believe what's going on. He finally gets his chance. Who the hell are you anyway? I'm Matthew Patel. I'm Ramona's first evil ex-boyfriend. They all look at her and she just smiles. You're fighting me because of Ramona? You didn't get my email and letter explaining the situation? I skimmed them, he says. I delivered that letter personally in the middle of a blizzard. You'll pay. And he asks, like, why are you dressed like a pirate? Pirates are in this year, he says. Sorry if I'm like covering up some of the pages sometimes. It's hard to like, since it's so thick, it's hard to like hold it down here. So then they get a little backstory on when this guy and Ramona had dated. His football season, 7th grade. And like they go into this like flashback. You can see with the borders are blackened in. And it's like more like kind of scribble art with the fucking sun right there. Kissy kissy. We joined forces and took out all the football guys. We were one hell of a team. Nothing could beat Matthew's mystical powers combined with my brute strength. Nothing but pure adolescent capriciousness. And she breaks up with him. She's leaving, just like giving him the bird right there. We only kissed once. Dude has mystical powers. You'll pay for that. So then he does this song. And like, if you want to fight me, you're not the brightest. You won't even know what hit you in the slightest. So now does he start? I don't know why all these characters start like joining in with Scott here. Is Scott singing now? These girls that he conjured up. Fireball girls, take these suckers out. Let me tell you what it's all about. Yeah, they're rhyming on each other. You and your fireballs and your demon hipster chicks. You're talking, you talk, and it's all pretty slick. You think you're so great, but you're missing the point. You got to have friendship and courage and whatever. That doesn't even rhyme. That's just, you couldn't think of a rhyme right there. Got to have friendship and courage and whatever. That's funny. So then, I don't know what they're fucking doing. They're shooting fireballs at them. They deflecting it, and they're pointing their fingers at them. They're fingering them, I guess. This is impossible. How can this be? Open your eyes. Here comes Scott. Maybe you'll see. Poo KO. So he gets vanquished, and he drops some coins, which is kind of a video game thing, right? Sweet coins. $2.10. Not even enough for the subway back home. I'll lend you the 15 cents. So Ramona grabs him, or they grab each other, and they run out the exit. Later on, so do you want to sort of go out with me? Yeah, okay. Do you want to make out? Sure. So they start making out. Ooh, studio audience from the back. And then this is where she says, I guess you have to fight my 7 evil ex-boyfriends if you want to, like, date me. 7 evil ex-boyfriends? 6 or 7. You dated 7 evil dudes, not all at once. So it's funny, they say this, 6 or 7, because I don't think he knew how he was going to do the volumes. He only had 6 volumes. So he's like 6 or 7, like he's kind of giving him a leeway. And she does say 6 boyfriends, like boyfriends here, but in a later volume when she's, she dates a girl, and that's a whole thing. Okay, I have to fight. No, defeat. Defeat your 7 evil ex-boyfriends if I want to keep dating you. So they come one at a time. It's like, I don't know. Not all at once. Like, I guess I'm okay with that. So they kiss again, and then he mentions this guy Gideon. I don't know where they were talking, where they mentioned him. But her head starts, like, glowing right there. And that's kind of a weird thing. And he's kind of freaked out. And then that's how it ends. To be continued. So there you go. There's Scott Pilgrim, Volume 1. There's a lot to go through, so I kind of skipped a bunch, especially when they're just kind of talking. It's really funny. Like, if you get into it and, like, just read the conversations that they go through, it's funny when they mention certain things. They talk about different volumes of books that there are, that kind of breaking the fourth wall. The Netflix series, like, it adapted this comic too pretty faithfully right up until this point with the fight, but Matthew Patel, like, fucking kills Scott in that series and in the first episode, and then from there it focuses on Ramona, and Scott's not even there, and it just goes on a weird different way. So it was weird for me when I was watching it, but then I was just able to accept it for what it was instead of what I was wanting it to be, like I said earlier. So thank you for watching this video. We're going to get through all 6 volumes at some point. We'll spread them out. It's pretty funny, and I think, like, the later volumes are even funnier with some of the in-jokes that they weren't able to put in the movie or anywhere else. So hope you liked the video. Hit that like button, hit subscribe if you're new. Put in comments what you liked about this, what other stuff you'd like to see me do. Thank you for everyone who's been following me. I'm, slowly gaining more and more subscribers. There's a few of you that often are commenting on the videos I do, and I really appreciate it. So continue to do so. Tell all your friends and your mom and your dogs about me. Sorry in these latest videos that Rusty wasn't around. He's sleeping somewhere. I did a bunch of videos all at once, and he just didn't want to come say hi. So I'll try and get more Rusty for you soon. So thank you, everyone, for watching, and as always, I will see you in the next video.